Hi, friends. Welcome back to my haunted life. I have a real treat for you tonight. I have done an interview with my sister as she recounts some of the spooky stories from our childhood. Some things I don't even have memory of, but she does. So, here you go. Here is my younger sister Amy. Sit back and enjoy the stories.
Oh, now
All
recording
right.
started.
Recording is now started. Amy and I have been on Talking Paranormal for the past hour, and I forgot to hit record, so I guess we're gonna go through a few of the stories again. For like this is time number three. Third time's the charm, right? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that.
I can't either. Oh my goodness. All right, let's start when we were kids. Let's start when we were kids.
Okay.
My mom and my dad got divorced when I was 4, Jen was 7, and my mom um we lived in an apartment for a little bit, and then my mom bought a house in Plainwell. And so we moved into this house, and Jen and I, there was like two sets of stairs in this house. Jen and my bedroom were on one set of stairs, and my mom's was on the other side. And then, and then my aunt Penny ended up moving in with us with her two kids, and so they took our domain, and then we ended up kind of going over into my mom's side. My mom had like this really huge closet, and it was pretty big, but Jen and I had a bed that we shared, right? We shared a bed in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, and Jen and I were in there, and I remember hearing like this screaming and this thudding, like, oh my gosh, it was terrifying. The scream was anguish, I guess. I mean, it
Yeah.
was um anyways, I remember even before we even moved to that side of the house, if we went up to mom's room for anything, I would bolt up the stairs and bolt back down the stairs. Like, 'cause I was just terrified to be on those stairs.
And a man had committed suicide in that stairwell before we moved in. In fact, there were still remnants on in the drywall when we moved in.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I mean, I
It
knew
was
that a man
still
committed suicide, but I didn't know there was brain matter remnants.
it was blood soaked into the drywall because he had shot himself in the head on that stairwell.
Oh,
And that's how my mom ended up getting the house. She bought it on land contract for a good deal.
yeah.
That was a whole weird situation with that house, that whole land contract thing. I remember somebody coming over when we were kids and stating that it was her house and why are we living in her house? And mom was trying to explain to her, and she just went off and she was going berserk in the yard. Also, in that house, which we failed to talk about before, what we can talk about now, there were a lot of car accidents. The house was right after a big curve. And at some point, when my dad was still living in the house before the divorce, there was, in the middle of the night, we heard this massive car accident, tires screeching, car hitting the big tree across the street. My dad looked out the
No,
window.
mom was with Kenny at the time.
No, it was dad was still there.
Dad
Because,
was still there.
yes, because dad is the one that looked out the window and he said he saw a guy in a white t shirt run from the car. I think he saw a spirit leaving a body, but he thought it was a man in a white t shirt.
Oh, yeah, I remember there were a lot of accidents there. I remember
All four of
somebody,
those guys died, and there were four kids. They were 18, 17, something like that. They were young. But yeah, he said, I saw a guy in a white shirt run away. And I remember talking to dad about this as an adult. And he was pretty
mm,
sure he saw a guy in a white t shirt run away, but I think he was just seeing their spirits leave.
yeah, I do remember that somebody came in the house and said somebody's face has been wiped off because they slid across the pavement. Like, it was
Yeah,
so horrific.
it was very horrific. And they were no
Um,
good guys.
yeah. And then Okay, so let's see here. Another paranormal experience. I was in the fourth grade and my sister wanted to do a seance.
I really don't remember this specific seance. I mean, I remember
I
doing them at
remember
silver
because
parties,
I
but
was like, okay, sure.
this is a
Like,
great idea. You should know what you're doing.
yeah.
You're
But
like
you
10.
know, like if you would understand, my sister and I did not have much of a bond growing up. So anything that my sister wanted to do with me, I was all gung ho for. She could have thrown me off a building and I would have been like, sure, let's go. So anyway, um, she wanted to do a seance and I said, all right. And I had one friend and she had one of her friends and then a guy friend. And so we all did the seance. We weren't allowed friends in the house when our parents weren't home. So we did it in the garage. And then um I don't remember who we had laying on the table to do the
Did we,
seance. I think we
why
were
did we
trying to
lay
do
someone on
I
a
don't
table?
know, I think we were doing the light as a feather, stiff as a board thing or something.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
That
we
makes
did
sense.
something else. But I don't know, all of a sudden the music in the house turned on full blast, like full blast. And
I
then
vaguely
we
remember music coming on. What I don't remember is a seance. That
yeah,
is
and
so funny.
then we stopped doing that and we went to go in the house and the doors were locked. The back door was locked because we went to that back side door. And
Yeah.
then tried to go into the front door and the doors were locked. Like we didn't lock the doors. We never locked our doors then. We didn't lock our doors in Plainwell. We didn't even lock our doors at night
No,
when we were sleeping.
no, yeah, I don't. And I vaguely remember being locked out of the house and the music going. That's all I remember
Yeah.
about it.
And it was a while. It seemed like forever that we couldn't get in the house. And finally we were able to get in the house and shut the music off. And yeah, my one of my friend that was with us was scared to death. She's like, I'm going home, Amy. Like she was scared to death. So
That's so.
yeah. And
I
then
remember, like, why were we doing that? Why were we doing a seance?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Just sounded like a
You,
good idea at the time.
yeah, I guess I must have been what, 11?
No, I was 11.
Oh, you were 11. Okay.
So you were 14.
Okay, good. That makes sense. I'm thinking at 11. Why would I want to do a seance at 11?
Yeah, because you were old enough. Mom figured you were old enough to babysit me
I
at
was
the.
babysitting you long before that, girl.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess true. So anyway, and then sorry, I keep yawning. It's been a long day. Um, my next paranormal experience was when my grandma Bean passed away, and I had spent the night with my grandparents. My grandma Bean lived with my grandparents because they took care of her. Um, and I fell asleep. I always fell asleep on the floor in front of the television. And I remember waking up because she was talking. And so I went in her doorway and she was holding her hand out. Oh, and the rocking chair was rocking just a little bit. It was moving just a little bit, ever so slightly, the one that was by her bed.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty. And she was holding her hand out as if she was holding somebody's hand. And I remember her saying, "Take me home, James. Take me home, James."
And
James
James
was
was her husband.
my poppy's name. That was my poppy's name.
Yep.
And the next day, mom or Nani had called mom to tell her to come get me because she figured it wasn't going to be long before grandma passed away. And I did not want to leave. I was so upset that I had to leave. And then as soon as we got home, we got the phone call that Grandma Bean had passed on. So yeah, there was that. And I mean, that's not a bad paranormal experience.
No.
It's a pretty good one
Yeah.
because she wasn't alone when she passed away. My poppy loved my Grandma Beans so much. Oh my gosh, was so undying, unwavering.
Had to have been a saint because A, Nani was. and B, the amount of stuff he put up with. She lived her life like a gypsy, and she was part of vaudeville, so she was never home. He raised the children. After she gave birth to them, she would take off, and he would take care of the children while
Yep.
he worked, paid all the bills.
And then Nani quit school when she was in the 8th grade so that she
Yep.
could take care of her younger siblings.
Yep.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It
That
is crazy.
she did that. 8th grade. I couldn't imagine. You just had a baby when I was in 8th grade, and I was like exhilarated that I was an auntie, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But my next paranormal experience, I was probably about 14, and I started experiencing these um, nightmares that something was chasing me down this road, and there would be this Indian man, this tall Indian man by the bonfire, and he would tell me to jump in, and I would jump in the fire, but then I would start all over from the beginning again. It was just like this endless loop. It was
But
so crazy weird.
that story that you're saying though intermingles with the story from Deep Lake, because when we were camping at Deep Lake, remember when we drove around, there was a whole bunch of people camping on the other side from us, and they were next to this big fire, and they were wearing armbands.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, I do. They were wearing armbands, and I remember looking, thinking, why are they wearing armbands, and what are they doing around that fire?
Yeah, I don't remember that. But yeah, it was so weird because I would wake up in I would have these scratch marks down my back, and like I would have blood on my sheets, and it was just blood on my clothes. It was so weird, and that went on for months. Then I remember staying at Grandma Griffin's, and I had woke up after a nightmare one night, and there was a bloody handprint. Looked like something crawled out from under the bed onto the bed. It was a bloody handprint on the side of the bed. Oh my
That
God,
is,
freaked me
that
out.
is freaky. Yeah, that is
And
freaky.
it was like it was up on the bed, like something touched the side of the bed to like get up out from under the bed. It was so
Well,
creepy.
yeah. You know what else? From about that same time period when you were about 14 and the time I had Stephanie, we were living in that little house across from the bowling alley. Remember?
Oh, yep.
And do you remember mom wasn't home, and I had my friend Dana over, and you had your friend Valerie over, and Valerie said her grandpa used to live in that house and he died there. And mom had woken up in the night. And one time I woke up in the morning and she was laying in my bed next to me, and I looked over and I go, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she said, "I got scared, so I came in here." She said she woke up in the middle of the night and she saw him floating above her face, looking at her.
There was I think I recall an old man being
Yeah.
there in that
Yep.
house.
Yeah. And then when remember we said we confronted him and we said, "If you're here, let us know." And then the dining room light started blinking where we were sitting. And so the whole group of us got up and ran down the hallway, and the hallway light started blinking, and I went into the bathroom. The bathroom light started blinking. Every room we went in, the lights would blink.
I don't remember that.
I do, because I remember being a little freaked out.
Yeah, I vaguely remember there being an old man there at that house
Yeah.
though.
Yep. And I don't think he was trying to cause trouble. I think he was just picking on us because we noticed him.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, hey, I'm here.
Yep. Yep. And because
So
Valerie had already said my grandpa used to live here, this is where he passed.
yeah, when I was probably about the summer when I was 14, I got into some terrible things like the occult and stuff, and
You met
started
mixing with the wrong group.
experiencing started experiencing some more heavy stuff, and then let's see here, by the time I was 15, there was something definitely following me around. And
I remember this. I also remember when we were trying to get you away from these people so that you wouldn't have any contact with them. I would get phone calls and I'd pick up the phone and it sounded like the Wicked Witch from the West. The line would be all crackly. I know it would tell me to stop, knock it off, stop what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That was
I don't,
creepy.
yeah. And it's so funny because, like, I mean, like now I kind of, it's so hard to remember everything because it feels like it was just in another lifetime, because it's
Yeah.
not who I am. It's not who I am at
Well,
all.
no, no, you were a kid.
And, anyways, but like, there was something dark, something dark that was following me around. And this thing would like, I think everybody could feel its presence. Everybody could feel
Oh,
that
we
thing's
all could.
presence.
Yeah.
And it was very foreboding. And
Yeah. Definitely.
I would see shadows, like it would just cast a shadow, like on the wall or on the ceiling. Like it was just always there. It was just terrifying. Um, Sometimes I wouldn't be afraid to be in a room, and then other days I would be afraid to be in the room, in that
Yeah.
same room. So I mean, was pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of it was a lot of time during that period. And that was the
Yeah.
time that we went camping during that period at Deep Lake. And that I have got a whole episode on that in my paranormal stories. I'll try to find it and link it for you if you're interested. Um, oh, I forgot to tell you. Yesterday, when I was in my group
Uh huh.
online, one of the ladies was like, "What is that movie next to you?" I'm like, "What?" She goes, "There's something moving next to you." And this is the room that always has so much activity.
Yeah. That room does.
Hmm. In fact, on my update, I told this little snippet, but last week, but I was making a sewing tutorial. I was on, or not a tutorial, but just sewing. I was sewing my quilt, and it was quiet, and I heard little kids talking and laughing over here,
Oh,
like they
that's
were
creepy.
crouched, like they were crouched under this table, and this table is full of polyfill fabric. I have a serger down there. There's nothing can. Well, the dogs can get under there, but they weren't talking and laughing. It
Yeah,
was
that's
creepy.
creepy. That's
I
creepy.
thought I thought it was my phone. Checked my phone. It wasn't on. So checked my computer. Made sure it wasn't on. It was creepy.
Yep. Um, let's see
Always
here.
something.
So yeah, we had that whole fiasco at Deep Lake, like when we went there, um, to kind of get me out of town for a day, and like
Yep.
a fire. We were telling ghost stories of all things to be telling, and then a fire started. Like it had just rained that day, so everything was really wet,
And this
and
was Michigan, so it was a
we
down.
couldn't even get a fire ourselves. We had to go get logs. We had to go get logs.
We got dry wood, and we still couldn't get them going.
Yep. And anyway, so we're telling ghost stories at nighttime and in the tent. And then all of a sudden, we see a flicker of a light. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's huge. There was this huge log in the fire pit that was next to our campsite. And I mean, it was right next to our campsite. And I remember the log being really big. It was a big log.
It was, but I also
And
remember being soaked.
anyways, the thing just started like it just lit on its own. Just lit on its own. There were no footprints or anything in sight. And it was crazy weird. I remember they were freaking out. So Joe and Jen and Amy, my friend Amy, they all left. I said I had to stay behind because I had to confront the damn thing because, I don't know. I don't know. Dumb.
You were very dramatic at that point.
Apparently so.
It's not.
Um,
I've got to confront it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Amy, you do that.
so anyway, um, they weren't gone long. They weren't gone long. I don't even remember. I don't think anything happened while they were gone. But yeah, the next day we left camp And then I don't know. I just remember, something followed me around for a while. Mom ended up sending me to Florida. So I was in Florida for 7 months with dad.
Yep.
So
You were a little out of control at that point. She didn't know what to do.
yeah. And then and then after that, I don't know. I mean, just something followed me around, but I ignored it. I just ignored it. I didn't give it the time of day. I don't know why I did that, but what made me feel that I needed to do that, but apparently it worked because it went away. It went away. My next paranormal experience it was several years after Grandma Griffin had passed away. Um, it was after I had my daughter. I birthed my daughter. She was a couple months old, and I had in my dream. It was in September. It was in September. I remember it being the month of September, and I had just given birth to Mary Beth in July. And I remember in my dream, walked into the bedroom, in the kids' bedroom with Grandma Griffin. And I was like, look at my babies. It's like, Grandma, aren't they just so precious? And she's like, oh, they're perfect, Amy doll. And she's like, it's getting cold. And she tucked them in bed, tucked them in like she would tuck me in. She tucked Alec in, tucked their feet in, tucked them all in. And she shut the windows, and then she walked me back to my bed and was like, you get some rest. I love you, Amy doll. I'll always be with you. And then I just woke up. Oh, woke up sobbing. I was sobbing so hard. And I just right all of it, I could smell her. I could just smell her. And I got up and I checked on the kids, and my kids were tucked in like how she would tuck them in.
Mm-hmm.
And my windows were closed. And because it was getting cold at night, in September, it was still warm during the day, but it was cold at night. So my windows were closed, and I had went to sleep with the windows open. So it was just so crazy weird that, I had that experience with her,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
I
the funny thing
needed that
is,
closure.
yeah, she didn't care much for the cold. So when she was dying and she knew she was dying, she ended up dying in the spring. She passed in the spring, and she told me before she passed that she wasn't going to pass in the winter because it was too damn cold to die. A Michigan winter was too damn cold for her to die.
Yeah, I like winter. I'm built for winter.
Not me.
I am. I hate the heat.
Winter is 60 degrees.
December, January, and February are my favorite months of the year.
You were born in the winter, that's why I appreciate the fall. October and November are my two favorite months of the year.
And I hate the fall only because I have allergies. The
So
allergies are the worst for me in the fall.
I got spring allergies, but I still like the spring, but I love the fall. I love everything about it. The decor, how it feels, the
Oh, I
colors.
love the
Oh,
decor and I love the colors. Don't get me wrong. And I love the smell of the crispy air. Let's see here. After that, we've already been through this a couple times.
I know. We can re-talk about when you came to visit me at the other house and then at this one.
Okay. I went to go visit my sister for the first time in Arizona. And she was living in her first house with her husband. And she was like, oh, just wait. This house is so active. This house is so active. The whole time I was down there, there was nothing. Nothing. She said, my house is quiet. It's never quiet. It's never like this. And I was thinking, yeah, yeah, sure, whatever. So anyway, um, I go to bed that night that, my plane was leaving the next morning. I had my alarm set for like 4:30 in the morning, I think. It was 4:30. And something shut the alarm off. And all of a sudden I hear in my ear, just like that. It was just like that. Frick flew up out of bed. I was freaking just scared the shit out of me. And it's pitch black. Nobody's there. And then I open the door, the bedroom door, and I hear chairs moving around downstairs. And it sounds like ice hitting the tile floor. And so I go downstairs. I'm like, Jen, no Jen. Nobody's downstairs. Nobody's downstairs. So I was hesitant. I was scared. I wanted to go wake my sister up. I wanted to go fly in bed with my sister, to be honest with you. But um, I went and I just went in her room and I'm like, Jen, there's something downstairs. And I'm like, yep, it was so weird. It was just such a crazy morning. I've never
You asked me.
experienced anything like that.
You asked me, were you just downstairs? And I'm like, no. You're like, I didn't think so. And you said your dishes are doing themselves down there.
Is that what I said? I
Yes.
don't remember what I said, but holy shit. It literally sounded like people were just like moving chairs back and forth downstairs. And it sounded like somebody just let the ice machine go and there was ice hitting the floor all over the place. Like it was
Yeah.
loud. It was loud.
That house was loud almost all the time. It was really loud. And it sounded sometimes like bombs were going off and the house would shake and the chandeliers would shake all night long. There were times where Robert and I were tripping over each other trying to get out of the bed because it was so loud. I remember my feet getting wrapped up in the blankets and diving headfirst into the floor. Trying to
And
get out of
then
that.
when I went to your house where you're at now to visit you for the first time, and this was pre-renovation, um, you had your guest room
Right
set
here.
up in there in your sewing room. And I tried to sleep in there. I could not sleep in that room. That room was just way too busy. Like, it is just, there is so much. If you are, really susceptible to feeling that kind of stuff, that room is just unsettling. It's so busy.
It is
And
busy.
so I slept on the couch. And then one day I was taking a nap on the couch and something grabbed my foot, which freaked me the frick out because it was in broad daylight. And I was sitting on Jen's bed and it was at nighttime and her drapes were open still. And I felt like people were staring in the windows. I felt like there were lots of people outside those windows. And it was just such a looming sensation. It was terrible, terrible. And
Yes.
then
Steve
I,
won't sleep at night unless the curtains are shut. He is spazzing out, doing cartwheels, barking, making weird noises. He just freaks out if the curtains are open. He doesn't
yeah.
sleep.
And then there is a man that stands in my sister's doorway. And I know it's a man and I feel him. And he's pretty tall. He's almost as tall as the doorway. He's tall. And he never comes in her room, but he'll stand there and stare in the room. Like, that's just scary.
Yeah, Rory, when she was 2, asked me who that man was. And she was like, Gigi, who's that man? And I was like, what? I can't see him. When she said that, that freaked me out.
Yeah, there is a man there. There is a man there.
That was the first time that I had gotten scared there. Gotten scared here. Was
Yeah,
that.
he never comes in your room, but he looms right there at the end of the hallway.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that hallway. And I think not long ago I told the story on here, but I don't know if I told it to you. They relocated the access to the crawl space, the roof, from my bedroom closet to the front of this closet. And one day Robert came home and he said, "What were you doing up in the attic, the crawl space?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I've never gone up in that crawl space before." He said, "Why is the door open?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I went and looked. That door was slid all the way over. Like, how did that happen? The visions I have in my head from that. I
Oh,
can't even
that's
talk.
just creepy. I'd be like, oh, that's creepy.
It is. Now, every time I get up in the night to go to the bathroom, I have to flip on the lights and look there first before I get out in the hallway.
I don't blame you. I'd probably put a lock on that son of a bitch.
It scares me so bad. I don't know. Because I was home alone all day with that damn thing open. Wide open.
Yeah, that's scary. Ooh, God. Ooh.
Yeah, that really freaked me out.
I think attics are creepier. Crawl spaces are creepier than attics, which are creepier than basements.
Okay. Crawl spaces are creepy. There's But according to Robert, there's not even enough room to stand up in there, up there. So, because at first I was like, "Oh no, what if there's bums living up in our attic?" I've seen the videos. It can happen. And he's like, "Trust me, Jen. No, no." He said they would have to be living in there on their bellies. They're not doing that. He said there's not enough room to sit up, let alone stand up.
Yeah, like a squatter.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
worried about squatters. I'm like, and I can hear a lot of things in this place, and a lot of times I can hear conversations going on, and I'm like, what are they saying? And then I'm like, oh no, are there two squatters up there? I always
People
think
are
something.
scary. I'd rather deal with ghosts than with people. That
Me
is for darn
too.
sure. Because
Me too.
man, I feel like even though you can't see a ghost, they're a little bit more predictable than people are. And I
I
know that
agree.
ghosts were once people too, but there's limits to what ghosts can do. There's no limits to what a human being can do. Like none.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I get so freaked out every time I hear loud noises, and I could hear bumping. So it sounds in the up there in the attic, the crawl space. It sounded one day like something was hitting the air vents, kabunk, 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 or trying to move them. And I'm like, what in the hell is up there?
Maybe you got a wild animal up there.
I could, I guess. Um, I haven't heard anything running around, but
Yeah, you never know.
there's a lot of knocking in my walls, and I did record some knockings in my bedroom. But there's a lot of knocking. And most of the time, it's when I'm filming in the kitchen and I hear knocking from behind the oven where the Robert shower is.
Oh,
And I'm thinking, what is
knock
knocking from
back.
the shower on my oven?
Yeah, knock on the wall. See if
I
anything knocks back at you.
I'll try it next time, but we'll see. And then I'm always
So,
worried. I'm like, okay, on my Jenny's Scratch Made Kitchen channel, I'm like, what if weird stuff starts happening in the camera? So that's why I always tell people on this channel, if you see something weird, tell me. If you hear something weird, tell me, because stuff goes on constantly. And some things I catch, some things I don't. I
yeah.
did have one person tell me, I was filming a pantry tour, and one lady said, "You got a gremlin in your jar, in a jar." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And sure enough, if you stop the camera right on as on that video, you can see something weird in that jar.
Weird.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Paranormal experiences. Let's see, we're at Grandma Griffin. When Nani died in 2012, I was really having a difficult time emotionally and mentally. And it wasn't just because she died, I was going through some other things. And I was laying in my bed at night and I was just sobbing and crying. And um, I got a phone call from my grandpa's cell phone and I answered it and there was nothing. It's just a bunch of clicks. And I'm like, Grandpa, Grandpa, hello, hello. Just clicks. Just all I heard was clicks. And then finally, after several minutes, I hung up and then I tried to call it back and it went right to voicemail. And then I called his house phone and he told me that his cell phone was on the charger in the bedroom and he was sitting in his chair in the living room. So I think that Nani tried to call me to tell me that I wasn't alone. And then a few months after that, my son had gotten a Ouija board and wanted to try to contact Nani on the Ouija board. And so we tried for about 45 minutes and we got nothing. But one candle blew out. And so, anyways, we got nothing. So we put it up and I tried to go to bed and I just kept hearing something in my closet. I would hear rustling and then I heard like other little noises. And then I heard like some low little grumbly, growly noises or whatever. Finally, I flew up out of bed and I rushed out and Alec went and checked my closet out, didn't see anything in my closet. And oh my gosh, I was like, we need to close out the board. And we didn't close out the board. Obviously, we brought something through. So we relit the candles and I closed out the board, but I slept on my son's bed all night long.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was scared. That was scary. It was scary.
It
So
probably wasn't Donnie that came through the board.
it wasn't Nani. That was something. It wasn't human. Whatever came through was not human.
How do you know
That
it
was
wasn't?
not human.
How do you know it wasn't human?
I don't think a person would be so low to the ground and growl like that.
Have you met my ex-husband?
Okay, there's exceptions, I guess.
Dude used to growl at me at night.
Yeah, that's just freaky.
You think? I'd wake up to him right here growling. I'm like, the hell are you doing? He'd be mad about something that happened 4 days prior.
Oh my
So he'd be
god.
growling at me in the middle of the night. Clearly there was issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, let's see. My next paranormal experience after that, like after my cat died, he died a month after my nanny passed away. And for months afterwards, when I was laying in bed trying to sleep at night, I would I went for years with just laying in bed at night with my eyes closed because I just couldn't sleep. But I would just lay in bed with my eyes closed and try to sleep, wish I was sleeping. But I would feel like what felt like baby kitty come and jump on the end of the bed and then get up beside me on my side and lay down like right at my legs. And every night I would touch. I'd have to touch because I'd be like, oh my God, is he really here? Was I dreaming it? Was it just a dream? And of course he was gone. And I would be so disappointed. And then I'd be upset. And, he wasn't there. And
Heartbroken all over again, yeah.
oh, yep. So, but yeah, I think that my cat just didn't leave me for months until he knew I was going to be okay without him. Took a long time. That cat was my soulmate. So, and then after that, let's see here. My dad died a year later, and I felt my dad's presence really strongly for the first year after he passed away. And the strongest that I had felt him was after like was the last time that I really felt him, like really, really felt him. And I felt this this cold tingly sensation on my left cheek and this cold tingly sensation around my shoulders and my back, as if he were hugging me and kissing me a lot of times. And that's how I felt. Like he were hugging me and just kissing me on my cheek to tell me goodbye. And then after that, my sister felt him for a long time at her house.
Yeah. Yeah, and the first time was I was making a video. It was in the middle of a video, and I was rushing through the kitchen to the refrigerator to grab something. And before I could get to the refrigerator, my arm stopped back here. Like something grabbed my arm. And then I was like, wait.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was him.
Isn't that funny how we just kind of
So
know?
me rushing around and him saying, wait, stop, I'm right here. You know what I mean?
I do remember, and then after, I don't know, was in the same apartment, and there was this woman that was in the apartment, and every time we'd see her, I would see her shadow, followed by a smell of fresh baked goods. Like, oh my gosh, it would smell like cookies and breads and cakes and just a bunch of goodies. I don't even think this woman knew she was gone. I think she was just still living out her day to days.
Her best baking life.
Yeah, I just thought about this. It was when the first Conjuring came out, and I had a TV and a DVD player in my bedroom. And Alec had bought The Conjuring to try to be cool with his friends. Alec does not like horror movies. My son hates them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he's scared to death. He does not like horror movies. Ever since I made the kids watch Darkness Falls with me when they were little, when they were like 10 years old or whatever, and it terrified him. He does not like scary movies.
Well, my daughter does not either, and she said the same thing. Ever since you forced us to watch horror flicks, I'm like, when did I force you to watch horror flicks? When we were growing up, I'm like, never did I say, come watch this movie. Sit down and don't move. I've never done that. What happened, I believe what happened was I was watching Chucky and the kids came out of their bedroom and saw it on TV and had a meltdown because Ryan still to this day, 33 years old, still talks about Chucky.
Yeah, well, like I was like, "Hey, you guys want to watch this movie? It's only PG-13. It's a scary movie." And they're like, "Yeah, yeah." So we watched it, and boy, after that, Alec never wanted to watch another horror movie again.
Well, you know how I felt about my kids watching anything rated R.
Yeah, I didn't let my kids watch anything rated R either. That's why I was like, "It's a scary movie. It's rated PG-13. How bad can it be?" Man, Darkness Falls is a pretty scary movie.
It was scary, actually. But yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't let my kids watch anything like that, so I don't know what Steph is talking about. Other than all I can think is, I was watching Chucky because that's the one they seem to remember.
Yeah, my daughter is just like you and I. She loves horror movies. Loves them. The
Yeah.
scarier the better.
Yeah, Stephanie does not. Ryan does though. Ryan, he's the one who goes to the movies with me to see new scaries.
Yeah, Mary Beth's my partner in crime. So is Noah. Noah loves scary movies too.
But Stephanie, no way, no how. Mm-mm. And if it has anything with like The Exorcist, she's out. She's like, peace out. See you next year.
That's funny.
Yep. She is scared to death of that stuff. She
Um,
doesn't even play.
yeah, let's see. Anyways, Alec, excuse me. Alec had bought the DVD, The Conjuring, and I was trying to watch that. I'd never seen it before, and my TV and DVD player kept clicking off.
Hmm.
I'd never had that problem before. Kept
Wow.
doing it. After 5 times, I was like, whoever it was, I think it was the lady in the apartment. And I was like, will you just knock it off already? It's just a movie. I'm trying to watch this movie. And finally, it didn't do it anymore after that. But it was just so weird. Like 5 times
DVD,
in a
that's funny.
row. Huh?
I said DVD. That's so funny.
I know it. I know. We still have a DVD player. We still have some DVDs. I mean,
I do too. I do too. And Robert tries to get rid of it all the time. I'm like, no, no, I have a DVD collection. I'm refusing to get rid of. Mostly classic horror films.
yeah. I still have
Like,
the Goonies. I have the Goonies on DVD.
do you?
Yep.
I've got all the Halloweens and what else? Just got Phantasms. I have like all the classic horror stuff, which I love.
Yeah.
I can download them all, yes, and that's usually what I do. But just in case, I got the DVDs and the player.
Good idea.
Never know when you're going to need it.
Right?
I have had access to internet shut off before, so when that happens, I still have a DVD player.
Yep. It's handy to have.
Yep, because
Yeah, our Wi-Fi, we lose Wi-Fi all the time here. Like it just goes out for a day or two. And so yeah, we lose Wi-Fi all the time here, and I hate it. I hate Xfinity. Can't stand it.
It happens to us too. I have lost internet here in this house so many times in the past 2 years, more than the whole time I've lived in Arizona. It's insane how much I've lost it the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So,
And companies like to proclaim they're the fastest high-speed internet service.
yeah.
Bullshit.
In fact, the speed we pay for isn't even the speed we're getting. It's
Never is.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
just for that.
let's see. After that, I had moved back in with my husband, and I had experienced. I was taking Seroquel at the time to help me sleep at night because that's what they first prescribed me, and it was just a low dose of Seroquel to help me sleep. And I was kind of groggy. I was in and out of it because I don't know why I opened my eyes, but I would see this shadow coming forward and then backing up, and then coming forward and then backing up. And then this woman with a raspy voice says, "Who are you? Why are you in Phil's bed?" And I said, "I'm Phil's wife." And I said, "We've been married for, we were married for 7 years at the time." And she says, oh, and I was like, well, who are you? She says, I'm Noah's grandma. And she said, I'm Lori's mom and Noah's grandma. She's like, I come to check on Noah. And anyway, she told me that she was really disappointed in her daughter because that's not the kind of person she raised her to be. And anyways, we just talked for a few minutes, and I was like, okay, well, it's nice to meet you. And I said, I'm going back to sleep now. So I just went back to sleep. But then when I got up and I told Phil about it, he's like, nuh-uh, because my husband doesn't believe in anything spiritual, like at all. He doesn't believe in anything spiritual.
Mine never used to. Till he moved in with me.
Yeah, Phil doesn't believe in anything spiritual. I pray to God that he wake up and there's the freaking spirit hanging over him one of these days. Like, that's just what I hope for. Then he'll believe in the afterlife. But I doubt that'll ever happen. But anyway, I told him about her, and then he's like, well, describe her. So I described her. Her voice was deep and raspy. The creases that she had on her face, around her mouth especially, and in her eyes. She had very blue eyes, dirty blonde hair, and she just reeked of cigarette smoke. Like she was just a massive chain smoker. And he's like, oh my God. He goes, that sounds just like Lori's mom. So, anyways, yeah, and I've never seen a picture of the woman. I never met her. Obviously, I never met her because she was dead before Phil and I even got together. So,
Well, she
yeah,
had
there was
passed before
that.
Noah was born, right?
Yeah, she passed away, I think in 1999, something like that.
Okay.
Mackenzie was little when she passed away,
What year was Noah born?
2002.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he was born just before Phil's motorcycle accident.
Mm.
So, and then what other? Since I've been with Phil, I really haven't had any major experiences other than 2 years ago, I experienced some night terrors. All of a sudden, I had woken up in the middle of the night and I felt like there was this strong presence standing at the foot of my bed. Oh my gosh, was terrible. Was a terrible feeling. Was
Mm.
scared that I was frozen. I was frozen with fear. It took me a minute to wake, to get up, to turn my light on, and I have a light right here at my bedside. So it took me a minute to even move to turn my lamp on. And so I got my lamp on and there was nothing there. And I went through the whole house and checked to make sure all the doors were locked, and the doors were locked. And I ended up shutting all the doors. And then after that, for months, I was terrified. I was just terrified to be in bed at night. And I had to make sure that every door of the house was shut. I had to make sure I had to check and recheck locked doors. I was just terrified. It was awful. It was the most terrible feeling in the whole wide world.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I haven't been terrified like that since I was a kid.
Hmm.
And I felt like I was a kid again. It was awful. It was a terrible feeling.
I guess.
So, yeah. So I think that pretty much sums it up for my paranormal experiences. If I think of any more, I'll let you know. But we've been through this a couple of times, and it's really hard to.
I know. I know. Yeah, the first one, StreamYard deleted for me. Thank you, StreamYard. And then we just recorded, and I realized, sorry, it wasn't recording. We went through it and talked about it, and I didn't hit record
Yeah.
because I'm so on it.
It happens to the best of us.
I'm actually tired tonight.
Me
But
too.
I did stay up late sewing last night, so.
So yeah, but there was with the woman in the house, the woman in the apartment when my daughter and I were living in there, I had seen her several times and I didn't say anything to Mary Beth about it. And I waited for Mary Beth. Mary Beth actually came to me. She's like, Mom, do you ever get the sense there's a presence in the house? And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, I always see this shadow. I always see this shadow in the house. And then I smell pressed baked cookies. So I know I wasn't the only one. Except that, for a minute, at first I thought I was seeing things, and I was like, no, there's something really here. And then Mary Beth finally came to me and said something to me about it. So, yeah, we still talk about that sometimes. But I think that's about all I can think of.
Okay.
Seemed like it was much more stuff, but I just don't remember everything.
I know. I know. I feel like we had a lot more stuff than our first interview, but I don't remember either. And now I'm tired, so I can't think of anything.
Me too. It's been a long day at work.
It's not been a long day here. I don't know what my deal is. I think I just stayed up late last night, and now I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, you get some rest. I love you.
I will love you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, that is it for my sister. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. I really am trying to grow this channel. Again, if you've got any stories you'd like to share, you can be my guest, or if you want to remain anonymous, you can email me. My email is in the description box below, and I will tell your story for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.